This is Patrick from WSOU 89.5 FM, the loudest rock today. I'm here with Johnny from Health. How you doing today?
Great. Good morning.
So we got a lot to talk about today. Your new album, Rat Wars, is out now. So over the past few years, everything I've read about Health, it was always during the backdrop of the pandemic. So Disco 4, it was released during the pandemic, and all the reviews said that the album reflected the darkness of the state of the world at that point. Now in 2023, how does Rat Wars reflect the band's state now this year?
Still responding to modern times. I think our music has always been sort of dystopian and sci-fi, and the times have caught up to the music. And now it just kind of fits in. Yeah, we are in the cyberpunk future. It's just way lamer than the movies.
and your last solo Health record was in 2019 with Slaves of Fear. And I say solo because Disco 4, it was almost entirely collaborative. So what does the creative process look like for the band when you're just Health versus when every song is a collaboration with another artist?
So we have two like parallel timelines. There are the Health records, solo you can call them, and then Disco, which we used to be remixes, which are now collaborative. So obviously the collaborative records, we're working with other artists. Those are way more touch and go because we can't really tell them to do anything. They give us what they give us and we work together and that's it. There's not a whole lot of revisions. And then for our own records, we can do it endlessly. So our own records, there's a lot more stress and where is this in the narrative? How are we advancing our sound? How are we responding to modern times? So I guess that would be the main difference. It's a lot more fun to make the disco records because of that.
And you just talked about how you're trying to expand your sound, how everything fits together. As an industrial band, what do you do to try to find new sounds to kind of advance what Health is already known for? Because, with stuff like industrial music and electronic music, it's not as simple as just one drum kit and every song on the record has that snare sound. What do you do to kind of expand the sound?
Always listen to new music, always find ways to get inspired. And then like every new plugin we're checking out, every new gimmick we can find, any like weird, novel, new music we want to listen to. And you just get, you get ideas, you want to respond to what's going on. So right now I just got these, AI and music, looking for all these new plugins that are using, wacky algorithms to do either they can do noise reduction, they can warp sounds, use sounds. There's a lot of stuff like that in this new record. So there's this new thing I got that sounds really promising. I'm gonna check out today. It's called, I don't know, has a weird name. I gotta look it up. But anyway, any new plugin, we want it. We're looking for the new stuff at all times.
And you said you're always listening to new music. Is there a particular artist or band that has been in heavy rotation for you during the making of this album?
So, there's tons of stuff. I'm making this album. We were listening to a lot of classic 90s industrial. We were listening to a lot of classic early 90s earache records like, Godflesh and Napalm Death. But we were also listening to tons of new, modern electronic stuff like EBSM when it comes to like Mattia Tura and Sierra. And that was a big influence in the record. And then for right now, in terms of what I'm listening now, this did not end up on the record because this is very new. There's this really, really bizarre music from Brazil right now. The latest generation Brazil funk is so avant-garde. It's really, really strange, and I highly recommend anyone to check it out. Although I can't even remember the people's names, but one song in particular I really like. It's called Set Da GM, and it has like 8 artists on it. And it will buck all conventions of music. How about that? The mix is so wrong, it's genius.
And I did hear one of you guys say that about your first album. You said it was very atonal, and at the time you said that you were kind of out of your minds. How do you compare the sound on your first album, which was very experimental, very atonal, like you said, to the sound on Rat Wars now?
This is Rat Wars. By comparison, it's a rock record, we've always had these sort of album oriented rock aspirations, even when we were this insano noise band. But all the Health albums are actually kind of similar and they're all sequenced kind of similar, but we've, I don't know, obviously hugely matured. And by comparison, this is just a rock record. It's kind of funny. The first album is just bananas. It's just really weird.
And you were talking about how each song kind of fits into the bigger picture, saying like that's one of the extra stresses that you have of making a solo Health album. Now, whether you would call it a concept album or not, how do the pieces of Rat Wars fit together to serve a larger purpose?
So we care a lot about the sequencing, and we call it like a light concept, a vague concept album. We're a big fan of those. So it's not like there's like this protagonist going through this narrative and there's all these like story beats and nothing that important, but just, we care a lot how the songs fit together. If you want to nerd out in the beginning, there's part in the first song that is reprised in the second to last song. There's a lot of continuity with some of the weird Easter egg samples sort of sounds throughout the album, obviously lyrical continuity, and it's we call it a light concept album. You don't have to go that deep, but it's just about a mood and a feeling.
And part of the album artwork, which I thought was interesting, was you do have a side A and a side B, even though you're technically in the streaming era. What will the vinyl release of Rat Wars look like now that you've incorporated side A and side B into the?
So it's the vinyl release. So we conform to the vinyl limitations. Naturally, because of just by luck, the limitations of a 33 RPM record are really good for your attention span, and they pretty much max out on like the farthest you can go is like 22 minutes aside, probably, and you're even pushing it, especially with the much low end we have. So it was just a good thing in the old days to have side one, and you'd pick up and turn the record over and get a side B. It's just a nice little mini intermission. And that's why, the sequencing, every song goes into each other, but there's a deliberate silence between track 6 and track 7. And we like that. And we've been kind of making all records now just 12 tracks, side A, side B. And I think it's just a good limitation.
And talk to me about limitations for a band like Health, because you said how with your first record early on you used the word bananas, but now you're talking about the limitations of vinyl. There's limitations obviously in production. How does limitations kind of serve the sound of a record like Rat Wars?
Well, I don't know. You can do anything, but we are, in our heart, even though we try to be very experimental and try and get all these sounds, and we're going to be really extreme, we are kind of conservative, and we want you to like it. And we don't we could go so much more bananas, but we really don't. We like to keep it classy, and we're kind of old school about a lot of it. That's what's kind of with the vinyl thing. Despite we obviously want to be modern and be sort of classic and old timey at the same time. So I don't know. It just it's just about taste, because you can do anything. You can do anything. Ableton, you can literally do anything. Like there's nothing stopping you from just going hog wild, but it might just be really annoying. It's restraint. You gotta have some taste. Gotta be classy. That's how we feel anyway.
Yeah, for sure. And one song I do want to talk about is the song Sicko, because it samples a Godflesh song. And this is something I hardly ever get to geek out on, because doing metal interviews, all everyone wants to talk about is the guitar riffs and the drum beats and stuff. But I get to talk about samples, which is something else that I could totally geek out on. How do you like to use samples to tell the story on an album like Rat Wars, or just Health's discography in general?
So intentionally on this album, we wanted to have sort of either references or sort of homages, or whatever you want to call them, ripoffs. But like really connect the dots for a lot of people that like where this sort of fits in industrial music and this time. So there is kind of like a mini checklist throughout everything else we're doing to be like certain types of industrial metal or certain things. And so Godflesh is a huge touchdown for us. We already, we wrote a song really inspired by Godflesh that didn't make the cut. And we were just kind of talking about it. We're like, dude, we should sample Godflesh. And we asked Justin Broderick's permission. He was like, total thumbs up. And that's just it's just really simple. We didn't do too much to it. It's just that song's awesome, and just basically sing over and add an 808. But people like it. People really responded. Everyone's like, oh, people can crucify you. It's like, no, they won't. And no, they did. Everyone likes it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And something else that I read that I thought was interesting was one of the things that forced you guys to kind of branch out and find new sounds was scoring video games for Rockstar. So it started with the Max Payne soundtrack, and then later you did GTA. There was a song on GTA 5. What kind of world is scoring video games compared to making an album for Health? How does the creative process differ?
So when we're doing a video game, you're working, you're like a soldier, like you're helping whatever's going on. You're trying to help the narrative, trying to help the gameplay. So that comes first. So it's obvious, and in certain ways, it's a lot easier. We feel, because you got this video, you got this playback, you make music, or you come up with an idea for it, and it either works or doesn't. You'll see it in 2 seconds. You're like, this doesn't feel right. This isn't exciting. Your own music, it could be anything, and you could work on it forever, and it could be terrible, and you don't know until it comes out. So the scoring it's in a weird way, even though it's like a lot of work and you have to meet the demands of the person you're trying to please or the team, it's sort of less stressful because it's either works or doesn't. You can tell if it sucks. Your own music, you'll never know.
And I have to I don't know how much you can talk about this, but I do have to ask: will we be seeing any health in GTA 6?
You know what? Even if I could tell you, I couldn't tell you. So if I had something to tell you, who knows?
All right,
That's time shall tell. You know.
Yeah, had to throw that in there. So something else I want to talk about is that you've been longtime friends and collaborators with a band that's been a mainstay on WSOU since the 80s, which is Nine Inch Nails. So I'm curious about how your relationship with them has affected your music and also affected their music. Like this friendship and collaboration is something I'm curious about.
I don't know if it's affected their music, but it's definitely affected our music. I don't know. It's just this weird thing. Our first record, which was made to play in the smell for like people on grounds and basements and hardcore basements, just by pure luck and who knows, they read Pitchfork or something. We got to open for Nine Inch Nails' Lights in the Sky tour. We also got asked for some more shows that were the farewell shows at the time, and that was just really amazing. It's when we very first started, and that's sort of like I don't know, maybe that seed was planted. Who knows? I don't know. Just like over time, and then I mean, we're talking like over a decade later that we did this collab, and it's weirdly kind of come full circle where we've sort of turned into an industrial band. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just you know that no one can plan life. So it's just interesting. But we've just really been very appreciative of all the huge favors they've done for us. And we really appreciate it. And when it comes of a band like us, the great the most the biggest Mount Olympus of all those is Nine Inch Nails, and for everyone from our scene, even the avant-garde scene where everyone was like anti-music, atonal weirdos, they all revered Nine Inch Nails. So that's I don't have much to tell you. It's not like I'm calling them up like, what's up, dude? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious about that because Nine Inch Nails, longtime favorite of the station, and you just mentioned how your first album, you said it was kind of made for hardcore basements, underground sort of scenes. But now in 2023, you're playing larger scale venues, headlining your own tour. Do you think your music is kind of still geared toward the underground basement vibe?
No. This is made for big stages, big PAs. We're not punk anymore, and it wouldn't work. No, that's kind of the funny thing. So that first album, which was literally made, we wrote an album before these DIY spaces in this really insane scene, and by this weird stroke of luck, we got to open in arenas for Nine Inch Nails, and everyone's like, "You suck," and we're like, "This music does not work in an arena. This is not written for an arena." Now, if we did that, we just played an arena. We opened for Sleep Token in Wembley. It's 12,000 people. Murdered that. So like we make very different music now. We can play on those stages now. So it's been quite a very long, strange trip. It's been.
Yeah, and I got to ask about Sleep Token because WSOU, now the whole metal world is all about Sleep Token. But what is it like seeing going from hearing your music in an underground space to hearing your music in Wembley in front of 12,000 people? What's your reaction to that?
We've been doing this so long. It's just like we don't even just like that moment of reflection was like 10 years ago. We've been doing this for so long, and we've opened for so many different people. We've played so many of our own tours. My life has been this bizarre purgatory. It's the exact same thing for well over a decade. It's I don't know. It's good. It's funny, and we're not really fazed by it. We're lifers, so we're not like, oh my god, it's 12,000 people. We're like, yeah, let's go out there, let's do this. We're just very we're very seasoned in the music game. Let's say that.
You think that attitude of sort of being seasoned and just kind of not being phased, does it come out in the studio or more so in a live setting?
It's weird. We've always what I say about Rat Wars, what I think is probably our best record, is this record has been made from a place of, I guess, strength and confidence, where it's every previous every previous health record at some point was like, is this the last one? Are we done? Are we cooked? Like, it's always been like, roll the dice. So this one, we felt very assured and strong of like, what we're doing, what we're trying to do, and who's it for. Our fans that we want to please and where it's going to be heard. So, yeah, we're just, I don't know, it feels good. It's good to be confident.
And you are touring the U.S. next year on your headline tour. So what can we expect from a Health live performance on the Rat Wars tour?
It's loud as we got production, we got strobes, lights up the yin yang. We've got the best fan base, the best vibe. It's just a party. There's gonna be a lot of stuff. You can meet me after the show. It's a cool atmosphere. I think we have a really, really special fan base, and the vibe at our shows is really fun. And it's go out there, you might make a friend.
Awesome. Now, since your formation in 2005, you've gone through several sounds, gone from basement shows to playing at Wembley Stadium, and now you're on your own headlining tour. How has this all come together on Rat Wars with the release of it?
I don't know. I just and it's not like we've done endless headline tours, and we've done our last tour we did it was amazing. I just think this is just the vibe. It's just I don't know. It's a good the vibes. It's just a good moment right now. I think this tour is kind of like it's good to see bands like certain parts of the history is like the really exciting time to see them, the most fun. It's a good time to be a fan, or the stock's rising, or whatever. This is just like nothing too highfalutin. It's just like this is a great time to be a health fan and to go this tour. I think this this Seattle show especially I think is going to be real barnstormer. Like Seattle selling tickets faster than any other city of all the cities, like way faster. So something's a cooking in Seattle.
All right, awesome. So Health Rat Wars out now. Johnny, thank you so much for doing this. Go get the vinyl CD, stream it, hear that pause, whatever you got to do. Johnny, anything else you want to add?
Nope, just turn it up, listen to it in sequence, and turn it up real loud. Let's get over at least over 90 decibels.
Awesome. All right, Johnny, thank you so much. This is Patrick, WSOU 89.5.